All right, so let's get into some drum programming. Ableton 12 has some really cool tools that work in the MIDI piano roll now that are really useful for programming drums. So first thing we can do is we can now just stretch a note all the way across, and then whatever resolution we have here, if we hit Command E, it'll just slice it up to whatever resolution we have. On occasion, we want 30-second notes. We could just click on a couple here. And then maybe over here, we want a 64th. If we want to make our own slices, we could just simply hit Shift E, and now we can cut wherever we want. And this is not necessarily on the grid. Another thing we can do is if we highlight a certain area, let's just highlight these right here. We can actually come over to Time Warp, and if we turn Transform on, we can actually move these, kind of make exponential rhythms. Another option we have is Ornament, and this is really good for snares. So let's get rid of that there. What I can do is I can make a flam on any snares I choose. So I'm just going to do every other one. And then here we just type in flam, and as you can see, it'll put it in there, and then we can choose the position and the velocity. We can go back. And here we could change the velocity of the flam. You could also choose grace notes, and this just gives a number of different notes. We can adjust the position. And we could change the chants, which you don't really need to do on this, but we can get into chants now with, let's get back into our hi-hats. With Option, I could draw on the grid and it'll stay on the same note. So now that we have this, we can go to probability. And right now, all of these are 100%. So all of these are going to play. But what I can do is I can lower the probability. Let's make sure we're highlighting everything. There. And then here, let's go to 66%. That makes things a little bit more fluid and random every time it goes through, so it's not the same loop every single time. Next, what you want to really take a look at is humanize. So we can actually humanize these by just changing the percentage, and we could listen in real time. If we come over here, we can actually choose rhythm, and what you could do with rhythm is you could literally program in a part for each different drum sound. Right now it's on hi-hat, so we could actually change what this hi-hat is doing just by changing some of these parameters. If we want a volume ramp, we could just highlight what we want to ramp, and then we can click over here, and then we get these ramp settings. So we can start, let's say, very, very low, go up to 100, and now we've got. You could also start up high and go lower. And then you could also use deviation, which is really cool. So let's just put these back to 100. We can highlight here. And we could use deviation so it's not completely as steady. To really give something a lot more velocity dynamic. Some real quick tips in the piano roll here. We can drag this all the way up or down. If we're playing with a QWERTY keyboard or controller, as you hit the notes, you can use the Z key or the X key to lower the octave you're playing. And you'll notice it down here. The C and V key will change the velocity of the default note. So right now, if I double click here, you see the velocity is all the way up to the top. If I use the C key, you'll see down here that the value will lower from 120, 100, 80, and now when I enter a note or play a note in, as you can see, the velocity shows that value. If we want to move notes, we just hit the right or left arrow key. If we want to lengthen notes, we hold Shift and hit the arrow key. If we want to shift notes an octave higher, we just hold Shift and the up arrow key. Lower is the down key. If we've selected a note and we hold the Option key, the up arrow key will move to the next MIDI note, and the down key will do the opposite. If you right click over here, you can select whether you want to show sharps and flats, or just sharps. So in this case, we got sharps and flats, and as you can see, it shows both. If I right click and just choose flats, now it'll just show those.